This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Hello, fellow gamers! We are 3 lifelong gamer dads that make up the Video Gamers podcast. We are so excited to have you here with us today as we cover this week in gaming. I am your host, Paul, and joining me, he's chained to me, constantly repeating, 1, 2, 3, jump! 1, 2, 3, jump! Oh, who didn't jump on time? It's Josh.
Actually, Paul, just to fix that issue, we're going to go on 20, okay?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, my goodness. All right, and then joining Josh and me for once, because he never joined us for Chained Together, it's Ryan.
Yeah, I was definitely left out of the mix on this little excursion.
For the record, you did say you were going to join us one of the days and then decided to go take on extra work. So I'm going to put that one on you, buddy.
That is fair. You had time and then you went and did more work instead of joining us. So
Gotta pay the bills, baby.
Yeah. And knowing Ryan, he'll never, even though he never opened the game, he'll never refund that $4 he spent.
No, I did. I opened it and I did the little practice run. I got it pretty far and then I was like, I wonder what happens when you jump. And I just jumped off the side.
Nice.
And my guy's just like,
waving his arms in the air.
Yeah.
All right, we're already here. Let's just start with Chained Together. All right. This is a very cheap game that you can pick up for $4.99 on Steam. It released a little bit over a week ago on June 19th, but it's got a 90% rating on Steam. It ended up being a total blast, I think, for me and Josh, and longtime listener of the show, Ace of Shame. Josh, for anyone who doesn't know, why don't you just give us a little bit of like a rundown? How does the game play and what'd you think?
So this game is basically, if people have seen Only Up, which was kind of all over Twitch for a little while, a lot of the famous Twitch streamers were playing it. You're basically just jumping from ledge to ledge, one floating block to the next, onto a little beam. And your whole goal in that game was to just keep moving up and up and up until you fell off and then fell back down and then climb your way back up kind of thing. Chained Together is the exact same premise, except you are chained to your friends. And that chain will yoink you back if your friends do not jump with you. So what Paul alluded to in the beginning on the intro was if you don't jump together and I jump first and then the chain tightens up, I get yoinked back and then I fall. And then your buddy's got to pull you up. But yeah, the basic premise of this game is just climb and jump your way up this obstacle course while attached to your buddies. So it makes it quite interesting when you have to like time certain jumps or you have to work together on certain areas so that you don't all fall off or, you know, get pulled off by your friends like you guys did to me all the time.
Josh was kind of our elected leader. And so I remember early on, I told you, if you jump when you say jump, but then there's like the half-second latency to us, that was creating a little bit of issue. But we ended up running through this game actually pretty quickly. We beat it in 3 play sessions. It ended up being 4 hours pretty much on the dot. I will say I loved the progression of the game because in the beginning, you're really just running on balance beams and like jumping from one block to another. But then kind of before you know it, we were running in actual mazes, trying to figure it out. And then there's parts where you like drive a car and all kinds of booby traps that, you know, you're like climbing chain link fences, but then stuff will pop out and hit you. So it's a lot of like coordinating and comms, very important in Chained Together. Yeah. But we did also fool around a little bit with one of the settings because you can have an open chain or a closed chain, which drastically changed the game. Because if it went like Josh to Ace in the middle and then me in the back, your chain is open and it's a lot easier to make those jumps. If it goes in a circle, it's a lot less like slack in the chain. Everyone has to be a lot closer. Brian, I'd ask you your thoughts, but unfortunately you didn't get to play with us. Do you feel like you missed out a bit?
Yeah, I did, because I love those dumb games like that. And that's the first thing I thought. I was like, oh, this looks like those games, all the Twitch streamers were playing. But yeah, I just didn't line up. And then I was pushing you guys, let's play. You're like, oh, about that, we actually beat it. So,
we beat it.
Yeah, and it's not a game that you play again. Once you
unless you're a
beat it.
speedrunner.
I mean, they do have you can try to speed run it, and there's a leaderboard for who can climb the fastest and stuff like that. I will say I don't play too many of these style of games. I've always thought like, hey, that looks neat, but is it just like a Twitch flavor of the week kind of thing too?
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this. There's not much to the game, but I really did have a lot of fun playing it with you guys for $4.99. I mean, we got 4.5 hours, I think is what it took for us to actually play the game and beat it. Dude, that's a no-brainer, in my opinion. If you have one or two other buddies to play with, at that point, it just makes sense because it is fun. The running joke, at least for me, was you're super high up in the air. You have to make these jumps, or you have to time things the right way so you don't get knocked off by this big swinging ball or something. My hands were so sweaty, dude, from the anxiety of like trying to time this and not fall. That it was like I had to tell you guys, like, hang on a second, guys, I gotta wipe my hands off, man. Like, don't make this jump yet, because it's just you're on the edge of your seat the whole time, man. Like, you're just so anxious. You're grabbing that controller like it's nobody's business. Like, it definitely will get your heart rate up.
That's funny.
Oh, for sure.
I missed out on that whole factor of the game because I just played solo for a little bit, and I'm just running up like a spider monkey. I'm like, this is cake, man. I don't know what they're talking about, but yeah, I'm gonna probably my little brother Jake messaged me about it, and I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna play, and then we never did, but I'm sure I'm gonna hop on with him just to kind of check it out.
You got to play with 2 minimum, or it's just not going to play the same at all. Yeah, I think, Josh, we would both definitely recommend it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Especially for that price.
Absolutely. That's the kicker. I mean, if this was a $30 game, I might have some reservations or something like that. But a $5 game that you're going to get 4.5 hours of enjoyment out of, it is a fun, unique experience. It's a very nice little diversionary type game for, a couple afternoons kind of thing. I mean, I think that's what we did, right? We played it over 3 days, couple hours each day. It was a lot of fun, man. Like, we had a good time, and there are some pretty challenging parts. And what's goofy to me is like the parts that weren't supposed to be challenging, we were struggling with like crazy. And then other
rotating
parts,
boxes.
Yeah, the stupid boxes, we couldn't jump on them together. And then other parts where you're like, oh, this part's gonna be super difficult. We just blew through it, and we were like, well, okay. But yeah, it's a strong recommend for me. Like I said, get a couple buddies, $5 each, have a really good time on a weekend or something like that. It really was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Who needs a Steam summer sale? This is just a base price of $5. All right. And then before we move on, we would love for you to consider supporting our podcast on Patreon. Podcasting is not nearly as lucrative as I think a lot of people assume. The 3 of us, we all have full-time jobs. We even have side hustles to make all the bills. You can sign up starting at $5 a month, all kinds of perks, shout out on the show, bonus episodes. Go sneak a peek at multiplayersquad.com. All right, Ryan, luckily we can bring you into the mix on this next topic. All right, Deadlock. We have talked about this game before. There's been a lot of leaks. This is Valve's first-person hero shooter / MOBA, which is in closed testing. It is 6v6. It has a little bit of a sci-fi fantasy theme. It's got PvP and PvE elements. We got to play it. We did a couple of matches together. Anytime Valve makes a game, we have to cover it. We have to pay attention, even though we're not crazy about MOBAs. I don't think any of the 3 of us actually like MOBAs in particular. Brian, how about you go first, since you got left out of Chained Together? How about you tell the people a little bit about how like these lanes work and the gameplay, and what'd you think of it?
Yeah, I wish I got left out of this one. That's what I'll tell you.
You did not like this game, Ryan.
Right.
This game legitimately put me in a bad mood. Afterwards, I said, I'm like in a bad mood now. I'm sorry for my family, but thanks a lot, Valve. No, so it's you start out, like you said, 6v6. You got these little robots that come with you as kind of like your backup, and you got these different lanes that are different colors, and you hop on your lane. it's like kind of like a ski lift, and you go across to these areas where you engage with the opponents and you try to push back and take out their defense stations to get to their back. What did they call them? The keep wanting to say
base.
The what?
Just to their main base.
Yeah,
Are you talking
main
about
base.
the Guardian that their base?
Guardians. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I kept wanting to say Praetorians, but that's Destiny.
Yeah.
Destiny PTSD in my brain. But yeah, you just got to get back and then take that over, and that's how you complete. Which these matches ended up being what, like 25, 30 minutes or so. They were pretty long.
They were longer than I thought they were going to be, to be honest.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of different features in it as well. So you can select your different characters that all have different like specialty abilities. You can select from 4, and then you can upgrade those. But another factor in it is there's like a store, so you can buy almost. It reminded me of like Risk of Rain 2 or like some sort of game like that where you have these different upgrades to your weapons or your speed or your magazines or different things like that. So that was also one of my beefs with it was. That meme where it's all the algebra all over the screen and the person. That's what it felt like to me. I'm like, this is just way too much. And I don't know if it was just me. It changes each match, right? So it's not always the same things you can upgrade.
It gives you recommended based on your hero.
Gotcha.
So you can click the basic tabs and see the same, but you are right that the default screen will change based on who you are.
Yeah, and it's happening so fast. I'm trying to get back to help you guys at a point. But then I'm looking because I need to upgrade so I can stay up with everybody else who's upgrading. It was just, to me, it was just too much. It probably didn't help that we just got absolutely curb stomped. But
in one of the matches in particular, we got curb stomped.
Yeah, one of them, we did like half the damage of the other team. But yeah, I don't know. You guys probably have more to say on it. I just was not a big fan so far.
Yeah, for me, it's funny because this mixes something I love, which is a hero shooter, to something I don't love, which is a MOBA. I've never liked MOBAs. I don't like the kind of just the gameplay of them, to be honest. I've tried League of Legends. I've tried Dota 2. They just don't click with me at all. I hate the 4-lane thing. I hate the slowly working up behind your little grunts or your bots or whatever the people call them. To try to take down this one guardian or tower or whatever it is. And then now you get to move forward a little bit. Oh, well, here comes some enemy guys and you got to fight them and maybe you win the battle, blah, blah, blah. I just don't like MOBAs. So this one was interesting because I really liked the hero shooter elements and I liked the skills that the heroes had. Each hero had 4 like actual, abilities on cooldowns. You could unlock via the store some other like abilities that you could actually use, in combat and stuff like that. You could cleanse any debuffs or you could get a speed boost or something like that. I like the hero variety. I think there's something like 16 of them, or I don't remember. 19 of them. Yeah. So, there's a good bit there. You have backliners and you have, damage dealers and healers and support guys and all that stuff, which I all really like as well. I don't know my feelings on this one, to be honest. I like the heroes, I like the abilities, and I like fighting the enemy team. I don't like the MOBA aspects. It kind of that's the problem. Like I don't like MOBAs. I've never liked MOBAs, and at heart, this is just a MOBA, but in third person view. And I thought maybe the hero shooter third person view would work for me, and it does kind of. But it's still just a MOBA at heart. And so as much as I hate to say it, I don't think I like it, man.
But I think we would all agree the game runs well. If you're into hero shooters and MOBAs, you are going to love this game.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just not made for us. Like the heroes themselves, I think are incredible.
Yeah.
I have not even played all of them. I've only tinkered around with about half, and I thought they were so much fun. Like you've got this dude with like blue skin and devil horns. He's got a shotgun and everything's about getting up in the face of your enemies. But then you've got these other guys that rely on electricity and more range, and you shoot these lightning balls. Like all the different heroes I thought played incredibly fun. And if it was in more of like in an arena shooter or something like Overwatch, I think we'd be all about it. The MOBA aspect is a little rough. I like having a little bit of PvE with the PvP. That part I'm not against. One of my biggest gripes, though, is the respawn timer, especially late in the match.
Dude.
You are stuck for 45 seconds which doesn't sound all that long. It feels like an eternity when you're watching. And if you're in a team that's like streaming one in at a time and people aren't retreating, you're going to be in for a real rough time. I feel like this is one of those games you have to play with a big group of friends or it's not going to be fun.
Yeah, and part of the issue is we this was our first time playing. We have no clue what we're doing. None of us are big fans of MOBAs, so we don't understand the ins and outs of, you only need one person on this lane because they're a mid or a jungle or I don't know, whatever these MOBA terms are, and it's like we're pretty bad because, like I said, we don't know the characters, we don't know the upgrade paths or any of that stuff. So, I mean, we were getting stomped, which is not fun. It's just I don't know. There's glimpses of greatness, but at its heart, to me at least, it is just ultimately a MOBA, and that's not my style of game. If you like MOBAs and you like third-person shooters, this might be the greatest thing that you ever touch in your life as far as that goes, because it does seem really well done. It kind of makes me a little sad because I was really excited for this, and then I kind of left going like, I don't know if I like this, guys.
There is a little bit of an element where you have to learn what all the different characters do, because if I see a certain enemy, I don't know, like, should I keep distance? Do I need to get in their face? Am I screwing myself over by getting close because now they get to siphon my health into theirs while they heal? That stuff's rough. It reminded me like when Overwatch first came out and you'd get Diva doing the ult and everyone would just stand around and stare at her mech and then it would blow up your entire team because no one knew to take cover. Or like I remember the first time I saw Reaper spin in a circle yelling, die, die, die. And I was like, cool. And then I'm dead. So there is an element of learning the maps, learning all the abilities. So for us, we only played for one pretty long stretch, but it was only one play session. I didn't get the sense that we're going to love this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, no. I'm not done with it. I'm not writing it off.
Me neither.
But my initial impression wasn't as good as I hoped it was going to be. I think this might be one of those ones where the more you play it and the more you learn it, you start to appreciate it a lot more. And like you said, Paul, then some of the strategy comes in where like, oh, they have this character, don't get in his face, he'll wreck you. Or something like that. So I definitely think the strategic element will improve. But initially, it wasn't quite there for me. Now, this game is kind of officially not even announced yet. Like we're not supposed to be talking about it. But then again, they didn't make us sign an NDA or anything either. So I have a feeling they don't really care as far as that goes. But a lot to like about it. But some things that I think are putting me off is kind of my final takeaway for now.
And we can't, unless we didn't figure it out, like you can't change your character in a match either. Like
mid-match, I don't think you can.
Yeah, you're set. Because I had selected, whatever setting we did, we picked a few, and I wanted to play the same guy I started to get comfortable with. I'm like, okay, I'll do that again. And then I'm all of a sudden some other guy that's got another character on his back running around. I had no clue how to play this guy. And that's when I was just like, I'm stuck here for 20, 30 minutes waiting 60 seconds for a respawn, and I hate this character. I'm like, I don't want to play this game. I am in a bad mood. I should have did what Josh did. Instead, I had to go eat and went and played Rocket League.
I did just quit out, man. At the end, we were not going to win that match, and I was hungry.
Josh like, I'm going to go eat, guys.
Waiting on me, and I was like, I'm just leaving, guys.
That match legit ended like 30 seconds.
Did it? I kind
after you quit. Yeah, it didn't take long. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a short break.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
All right, we're back. Josh, last week we got to hear from you on Shadow of the Erd Tree. Not only did we hear a bit, we couldn't get you to stop talking about Shadow of the Erd Tree. Let's just try this one last time. I know you still got to get a little bit of it out, Josh. I know you finished the DLC. You have told us many times that it's either the best or like tied for the best expansion you've ever played. Give us some of just your final thoughts.
Yeah, I won't go into a 30-minute montage. You guys, well played on that one.
Release the Josh cut.
Yeah. We did have a few people that were like, I want to hear everything he said. It was like, no.
Hey, hit me up. Shoot me a message if you want the Josh cut. $99.95.
I will say it's a phenomenal DLC. I don't know if it's the best I've ever played because there's some. Phantom Liberty, Blood and Wine for Witcher 3, but this ranks up there as one of the best I've ever played. I understand the complaints about it being hard. Yes, it's hard. Stick with it. It gets easier the more you get the Scattertree fragments. But if you take Elden Ring and you take Shadow of the Erd Tree and you combine them into one gaming experience, it is one of the best game experiences I've ever had. I was actually going to reach out to you, Paul, and tell you I want Elden Ring in my top 10 games of all time list that we have on our website.
Yeah.
Some of that might be a little bit of recency bias, but you guys know I love Dark Souls games. There's just no other game like Elden Ring, dude. There's not. I mean, it's an experience that I think everybody should at least try because there's no other game out there like it. It is unique in a way that is hard to describe to people. It's beautiful in a way that is hard to describe to people, which is weird to say that about a Dark Souls game, but it's just gorgeous, dude, in a lot of ways. I don't want to go on a 30-minute montage, but if you've ever been on the fence about maybe I should try Elden Ring, I wonder if I would like it, I would strongly encourage you to at least give it a try. We have a shout out to Atheist in our Discord server who says, I don't like Dark Souls games. They picked up Elden Ring and said, I can't resist playing this anymore. Even though this is not my kind of game, I picked it up. And I love that, they're reporting in and saying like, okay, I'm level 16. I'm really digging this game, guys. I came up against Margit the Fell, which is the first main boss that you come across. And it's like, dude, he's going to kick your butt for a long time. But somebody that knew that they wouldn't like it is still saying, dude, this game's really something impressive. So I'll end it there because Paul's starting to get the grin. I have a feeling there's going to be some music on this again, but yes.
I was debating whether or not to pretend I fell asleep.
We'll just put snores in the track.
There you go. All right. So next up, Josh, I'm actually going to toss this right back to you.
Ooh.
So you shared with us the official reveal trailer for an upcoming first-person medieval fantasy action RPG called Alkahest. For those out there listening, that's spelled Alkahest. And the devs cite Dishonored and Kingdom Come Deliverance as influences. Oof. We have not talked a single second about this game. Josh, why did you want to talk about this?
I don't know about you guys. When I saw this trailer, it absolutely blew me away. I mean, my mind, and I think I put in our doc, this looks crazy next gen was the kind of like descriptor for it. Guys, we're in the future, man. Like, am I crazy to think that like this game looks bananas to me, man?
What you're crazy to think of is that the game will actually play like that.
0%. Zero. I will stake my entire reputation. This is all cinematic. I don't think the gameplay is going to be anything like it.
Really?
Yeah. I hope
Why
I'm
would
wrong.
they make cinematics that look like gameplay though? Because
Everyone
looks
does
like
that.
gameplay. No, they make cinematics that's like a movie and then the gameplay is nothing like it. Like this was all gameplay elements. Now you bring up a good point, right? Like we don't know. And that's why I kind of put this in there because it's funny because I saw the video and then I actually saw where IGN had done a little thing and they said this game is going to be crazy if it actually looks or if it plays like it looks.
Yeah.
To me, like more so than anything, and you guys might be right, it might be completely dumbed down by the time they release this thing, but this gives us a glimpse into the future, right?
Yes.
Like, do you guys remember when cutscenes, Ryan, you mentioned the Metal Gear Solid or 2, I think, where you were like, dude, these are the best graphics I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Do you remember when cutscenes looked like that? And then we went, dude, imagine one day when gameplay looks like that. Well, we've had gameplay looking like that for 15 years now, man.
Yeah.
And then we talk about like Space Marine 2, where the gameplay in Space Marine 2 looks like a trailer that we would have seen 5 years ago, where we're like, dude, one day gameplay's going to look like that, guys. And now here it is, and we've got gameplay that looks like a freaking cinematic trailer. Yeah. So it's like, we have Unreal Engine 5. We have all this processing power. Devs are starting to figure out how to use Unreal Engine 5. I'm not planting my flag on Alkahest by any means, but it is an example of where gaming could be going in the next 4 to 5 years, And I mean, if you look at the trailer, I'll post it on our Discord server. I'll probably even post it to socials, to be honest, because it's just something to behold, man. I think you guys are skeptical because you're like, there's no way that's gameplay. But what if it is?
Well, that's why I'm skeptical, because I absolutely love the trailer. Everything about it. There's something to be said when there's those little kind of tweaks in it that just make it over the top, like when he drinks the potion and then he throws the potion at the enemy's head and then slices his head off or whatever and attacks him, or when he puts the shield up and arrows are coming at him and you see the shield breaking apart from the arrows coming through. There were so many cool little features in the trailer that just blew me away, and I thought the same thing. Man, if a game actually played like this, I don't know what I would do. It'd blow me away, but that's the problem, is you just can't trust these anymore. They make these trailers so cool and cinematic, but to get the gameplay to match is just it's 1 in a million.
That's the thing. None of it is true gameplay. All the camera movements are very smooth. It's shot like a movie. You can tell it's not someone on a controller or with a mouse. It's just too smooth and rounded. This reminded me so much of The Day Before, where we all watched that trailer, and Josh, you and I jumped on that incredibly fast. I mean, that was obviously a lot more egregious than this, where we're like, guys, the game's not going to be like this. This is all just, made up programmed stuff that they're narrating over. But similarly, I think back to like the old Cyberpunk videos we got, I don't know, like 6 years ago, where there was wall running and you saw all this cool stuff and none of it was in the actual game. I can't help but think that'll be the case here. What I jotted down was, I don't think it's going to be 60% as cool as it looks. Like, I don't think you're going to be mixing these potions on the fly. You're
awesome.
Going to pull up a menu, you're going to click create potion, and then it's going to be in your inventory. He's not going to mix it. He's not going to throw the empty bottle at an enemy. You know what it's going to have? It's going to have where you pick up a barrel and you throw it and it explodes, or you can kick a guy off a ledge and if he lands in fire, he'll light on fire. And I think that's about as dynamic as it'll be, but I'm hoping I'm just being pessimistic.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where it's hard to believe, right? It's like when that, what was that game, Body Cam, right?
Oh,
that looked real life.
Yeah.
That came out and it did not get good reviews, let's be honest. Everybody said, dude, the graphics are incredible, but the gameplay is really not that great. Like, that's the kicker, right? Is I think we're skeptical for a reason, but at some point in the next few years, we're going to get to this point in gaming. And that's what really interested me about this, is it's like you can see the glimpse of if this is gameplay or if gameplay gets to this point, it's going to be pretty mind-blowing, man.
Yeah. Totally agree. It's kind of like when sports games started getting so good that someone would walk in the room and be like, oh, who's winning?
Yes,
like, oh, exactly. Who's on tonight? It's like, oh no, this is, NBA 2K or it's Madden, and it starts to get indistinguishable. Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to see stuff like this. I don't know that this will be the exact game.
Right.
Lords of the Fallen. It also kind of reminded me a little bit where those videos looked really good. And then the game comes out and it's got okay reviews. All right. And then finally, last thing that we wanted to cover here today, Steam's summer sale. It does run through July 11th. We still got a few more days after this releases. We wanted to give a couple of recommendations to our listeners out there. This is the time when you can grab those games dirt cheap, grab 3 or 4 of them, let them sit in your library until you have time to play. I actually did not look at the Steam sale until today because I did not want to be tempted to buy anything.
Oh, man.
I made a little bit of a list. I don't know about you guys. I tried to keep mine to single-digit dollar games. There's a lot that are on sale 50% off, but it's still like $30, $35. I tried to go with like the really dirt cheap stuff. I don't know what you guys have. Ryan, how about you go first? What are some of your recommendations?
So I looked through a lot, and it was hard when you see, 90% off. And I try to do the same thing, things that were like under $10. It's hard not to just instantly buy it. But one that I got that is a beloved game for you guys, and I have it, and famously or not famously, was not a fan due to the old kind of way it played out. But Disco Elysium is
heck yeah, dude.
90% off. It's $4.
That's
like,
a must-play game, dude.
I'm like,
Must-play.
let me get it on my computer so I can just kind of sit here and chill and play it that way. So it's not kind of in the living room with everything going on. I could just kind of zone in on it. So I'm definitely going to pick up that one and make a run at that so I can rate it for our leaderboard. And then also, Don't Starve Together is 66% off. It's only $5. Which is
nice.
A great little survival game. I had it on the Switch. I used to play it a lot, and then my daughter's been really into it, so I figured I would get that, and we could hop on together and play some of that. But there's a lot of really good games. If you ask Team, I'd suggest getting on and checking them out.
What do you got, Josh?
I mean, I have a lot. I have a big list because I was looking through these and I was like, oh man, I got to stop somewhere. I'll start off with Battlefield 2042 is only $5.99. Take your $5.99,
too high.
crumple it up, throw it in the garbage, light it on fire. Stay away from that game.
Good.
Celeste is $1.99. Paul, you picked this game for me impromptu
so
on a Squadcast, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal game. I'm a graphics snob at times. The pixelation and the pixel art kind of threw me off. But dude, Celeste is one of the best platformers I think I've ever played. Like legitimately, it is hard. It is fun. It's super well done for $2, man. I can't imagine passing that by. Shadow of War is a phenomenal game.
Under $3.
I mean, dude, it's $2.49 and it holds up very, very well. It is an insanely fun video game. Cannot recommend that enough. Yes, the Nemesis. Yes. I mean, this thing pioneered. It's crazy tech, dude. Like, just play this game. You will enjoy it. I don't know anybody that's played Shadow of War and went like, it's okay. Like, everybody's like, dude, this game's fantastic. Exploration combat, really, really neat. Lord of the Rings setting, and it does it right too, which is good. Witcher 3 for $3.99 is an absolute no-brainer. If you have not played The Witcher 3, it is one of the best video games ever made. Yep. Like, plain and simple, ever made. It still holds up to this day. The graphics are gorgeous, even though this game's, 10 years old at this point? Maybe even older?
I think it's 9 years old. Yeah, I think it came out 2015.
So it's still current. It still feels modern. It's amazing. And then last two for me, Hogwarts Legacy, $23.99 on sale right now, is one of my favorite games from last year. You do not have to be a Harry Potter fan to enjoy that game. I cannot recommend that game enough. It's really well done. It's fun for everybody. Some people go, I'm not into combat. The combat's simple. It can be hard if you want it to be. It can be simple if you want it to be. And then last but not least, one of our favorite games that we have played, Risk of Rain 2. For $8.24. I don't know why that's a random number, but Risk of Rain 2 is an absolute guaranteed great time with friends. You can play it solo. It's a phenomenal game, but for $8, that is one of those must play, must pick up games, in my opinion.
If you needed any more of a reason to pick up The Witcher 3, it is the only game that all three of us have in our top 10 of all time.
Yeah, that tells you
that's
everything you need to know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is that good. I had a lot of the ones that you both mentioned. I'll also throw in Borderlands 2 is $3 even. It's the best Borderlands game. If you're only going to play one of them, pick up the second one.
You don't need to play the first either. That's a question people go is, it's Borderlands 2. You do not need to play the first Borderlands. Just dive right into Borderlands 2. It's the best one.
100%. Batman Arkham Knight is $1.99.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Such a freaking steal, man. And I do think Celeste is the better platformer, but if you love platformers and maybe you want one that does look a little bit nicer, Rayman Legends is $4.49.
Rayman is fantastic, dude. Even if for people that don't like platformers, Rayman just has something to it that appeals to almost everybody.
Absolutely. And Rayman Origins is also on sale, but if you're only going to get one, go with Legends. And the music levels are just so fun. Running through, hearing like the song Black Betty, and you're jumping on the beat and they incorporate the music. It's an absolute blast. Civ 6, I have my issues with, but it's $2.99. Like if you haven't played like a 4x game like Civ, go pick up Civ 6. It's a ton of fun. I'm surprised you guys didn't bring it up, but Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, $3.99.
I almost
Another
brought
great
it up.
one.
That's a phenomenal game.
So many great games here. Just, grab a couple, hang on to them. You won't regret it. All right. Well, that wraps up everything here for This Week in Gaming. Thank you for joining us. Come let us know on socials at Video Gamers Pod or in our free Discord if there's any great deals that we missed that you want to let our other listeners know about. Please also consider signing up on Patreon, as we talked about before. That's over at multiplayersquad.com. We hope that you'll come back and check out our next episode on Monday. And until then, happy gaming.
See ya.
All right. See you, everybody.